Hello, friends. It's time for Mailbag Monday. I have this beautiful box filled with cards that have your questions on them, and I will be answering a few of those questions today. Before we get started, I want to remind you I am not a doctor. I am a nutrition educator, and as such, I cannot treat, diagnose, or prescribe, cannot make changes to your medication. That is way beyond my scope of practice. I do not ever do that. The other thing that I want to share, I am not your personal wellness professional. The questions that I am answering here are educational questions that are general guidelines for health, well-being, nutrition. Answering these questions does not mean that we are working together. If you would like to do so, I will put a link down below. Otherwise, this is here simply to answer questions and help you learn more. So today, our first question is eggs. Which is better, brown eggs or white? And I know that seems a little bit confusing. However, the answer is it doesn't really matter. That's not the important thing when it comes to our eggs. The color of an egg depends on what kind of chicken it comes from. So you can purchase brown eggs or white eggs, usually at the grocery store. Some grocery stores will even have chickens that have eggs that come from breeds of chickens that lay green eggs or blue eggs or dark brown eggs. What kind of egg it is depends on the chicken it comes from. The more important part is to make sure that you are getting good quality eggs. And that generally means chickens that are free range or pastured. They're allowed to run around, scratch in the dirt, eat bugs, be outside. Chickens love to do that. That's their natural environment. If you're buying eggs at the grocery store, the best option is to choose eggs that are from vegetarian-fed hens, not because chickens are vegetarian, they're not, but because we want to make sure that they're not being fed any offal from slaughter of other animals. Chickens would eat it, but potentially not a good idea. So that is important. Cage-free is important. However, you also need to know that cage-free in a commercial setting simply means that instead of being in cages, they're all stuffed into a barn. They have more space. They're not in tiny little cages where they can't move, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're running around outside. That would be free range or pastured. So that's the difference there. Next question. Food journaling. I don't like food journaling. It's a pain to write it all down. I also don't like the apps. They're either annoying or too expensive. Any other options? I'm a huge fan of food journaling. I do believe in it. I think it can be really helpful for us to exactly understand how and what and when we're eating by journaling it. But I also understand that for a lot of people, writing it down on a form or using an app can be a bit annoying. The only other option that I have for you is use this and take pictures. So, snap pictures of your food, and then you'll have a timestamp and you'll have a picture of what's on your plate. You do have to be consistent about this, though, so that you can see everything. If, for example, you're drinking something other than water with your meal, or if you're having a snack, you need to remember to take pictures of your snacks. But doing photographs is another way to food journal. And perhaps then, I don't know, every 2-3 days, you sit down and look through the pictures and see what you ate and where you might need to make some changes. Okay, carbs. I'm having trouble doing no carbs for my diet. Any recommendations? Yes, first, don't do that. The no carb thing is a bit of a myth. I'm guessing what this person probably meant to do simple carbs, no simple carbs. So that would be bread, rice, pasta, pancakes, cake, cookies, whatever. Those are simple carbohydrates. We don't want a no carbohydrate diet because lots of veggies and fruit and things have carbohydrate content to them, but it's actually good for us. Those are some of the insoluble fibers that are supportive for our gut, that those carbs also are sustaining for us. And if you try to do zero carbs whatsoever, I think you would probably A, be a little bit hungrier, B, possibly have some digestive issues. So the goal is no simple carbs, but load up on the carbs that come from healthy things like broccoli. So that's my thoughts on that. Last question for today. Ginger. How do you peel ginger? Great question. There's a couple different ways you can do it. One is there are little veggie shavers that you can use. You can do that. You can use a spoon, and that the skin on the ginger is so thin that it's very easy to be able to scrape it off. And I recently learned that if you have fresh young ginger, the skin is so thin and so tender, you actually don't even need to scrape it off at all. And I'm very fortunate where I live here in Texas. I have ginger growing in a pot. So now when I want ginger, I just go grab some from the pot, wash it off, and I can just grate it up right there. It's not very fibrous and the skin is very thin. So those are the three ways you can do it. You can either not peel it, you can use a spoon, or you can use a peeler. And those are the questions for today. There's a link down below. If you have a health, wellness, nutrition, holistic lifestyle question that you want answered, please feel free to fill out the form and maybe I'll answer your question in the next Mailbag Monday. Take care, folks. Bye.